3rd, 2018 Finance Committee meeting. Committee members present, myself, Councilor Di Natale, President Kuchmarek, Councilors Walsh, Zarella, and Boschman. Also present, Councilor Squalia. We will start with 01018, in order that there be and is hereby appropriated the sum of $300,000, same to be charged against available funds, and credited to the following Department of Public Works snow and ice accounts: personal services overtime, $40,000; equipment rental, $100,000; plows and blades, $60,000; salt, $100,000. Commissioner Laxo.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, as is the practice, our snow and ice budget was underfunded. We started off with $500,000. Usually we spend about $1 million a year on snow and ice, and then I come back and ask for more, usually every month during the winter. So when I wrote the letter, we had just exhausted our initial outlay of $500,000. We asked for another $300,000 to keep us going. Since that time, we've spent another $150,000, so half of it's already gone. We've had some unusual storms with drifting snow after snowstorms, and last night was a real tough one with freezing rain and having to sand the streets all night. Yeah, for this time of the year, we've had a lot of storms to deal with.
Is it true, sir, that we've upped the initial funding in the budget from $400,000 to $500,000 in recent years?
Yes,
as a
we
starting
have.
point?
Yeah, the MMA a couple of years ago came out with a recommended best practice for cities and towns to fund more of their snow and ice budget to make it more realistic. But there are all kinds of funny little rules with the snow and ice accounts that the state has created. So
this 644,300 that you've expended, does that include today with all the salt and the sand we've put down, or is that?
yes,
That it does include it? Okay.
right.
Any questions? Councilor Boschman.
Lenny, how's your equipment, how is it holding up?
Pretty good. I mean, every storm we have repairs to make on the fly, but for the most part, we've been doing okay. There was one sander that had an accident last night and had to be towed in, but we'll be able to get that repaired.
Now, my question to you is this: if you notice the police department, you notice the fire department, they come in every couple of years for new cars because they want to replace their cars. I've been on the council for 4 years, and I have never seen you guys come in for replacement on, except for the sweeper, because I guess we have to do it because, of course, from MS, the 4 program coming into effect, MSB. But how come you don't do that where our trucks and our fleet is falling apart, and when instead of spending thousands of dollars repairing it, replacing, and with better equipment and faster equipment?
No, actually, we do buy new equipment quite frequently. Usually there's a bond. You know, if the city's buying fire trucks, we usually jump on that same bond and purchase vehicles for the DPW. There's one that's been on order for, it takes about a year to get a truck, and there's one that will be delivered in the next couple of months.
All right, I just want to make sure that you guys will get the proper equipment to keep us safe, because there is 3 safety departments in the city, the council president. You get the police, the fire, and public works. So I want to make the public know on that there are 3 safety groups in the city of Fitchburg, not just 2, 3.
And we're also allowed to use Chapter 90 funds for DPW equipment, so we buy equipment and vehicles periodically with Chapter 90 funds also.
Yeah, but I would prefer you not use Chapter 90 funds. I'd rather see Chapter 90 funds go for the purpose of the roads.
Right.
And we come back here underneath the capital improvements and use it, get that from us from there. I don't want Chapter 90. Look at the roads. I mean, they're falling apart. You can see them. I wish we used Franklin Road. They just dug it up. We haven't been, it's been a year, less than a year, and they're already digging it up. I just seen that tonight. Well, I seen it a couple of weeks ago, but I figured I'd mention it now, but.
Counselor, we appropriated $500,000 out of free cash last year to do build a brand-new salt shed. And did we not also appropriate tens of thousands of dollars for a new vehicle? Is that the one you were just talking about?
Yes.
I recall there was a free cash appropriation of a sizable amount for a new DPW truck, a big one.
Right.
What was it exactly again?
Sweeper.
No, it's It's a snowplow, sander, and dump truck.
Right, so we procured a large snowplow sander truck last year and are redoing the entire salt shed, which has been kicked down the road for 30 years.
Yeah.
So there are documented capital investments being made to the DPW outside of Chapter 90 funding. Is it enough? Some will say it isn't. I happen to agree it may not be, but they're not being overlooked. They are being considered as much as any other department in this city. More so than others, I believe, based on the history.
Well, I just want to make sure they get their fair share too, because I value the roads and I value public safety. And public safety is very important, not just the police and fire department.
Motion to approve 01018.
Second. If you can hold your motion, Counselor Squalia.
The salt budget, do you mix the salt with our road sand and use that on the roads?
Right,
Is that $100,000 for the salt budget, is that for the whole year, or is that just for a month?
Yeah. Well, the budget was for $130,000, but that, we've already spent about $230,000.
On salt?
Yes.
Okay, so the whole year budget might be
I think last year we spent $400,000 on salt.
400,000? Yep. And the plow and blades, are those regular occurring? Do you regularly have to replace plow blades every season?
Yeah. I mean, that account is, is for truck repairs as well as blades for the plows.
Okay. And the equipment rental, is that for subcontractors, or are you actually renting, like, equipment that the DPW personnel uses on the streets?
For the most part, that account is for the private plow contractors, but we also rent a screening plant every September to screen sand down at the airport pit.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to approve 01018.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve 01018. Speaking on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. 01118, order that there be and hereby is transferred from within the sum of $24,108, same to be transferred from Police Personal Services Animal Control, $16,732, and from Police Personal Services Animal Control Officer Overtime, $7,376, and credited to Police Other Expenses Animal Control. Chief Martineau.
Thank you, councilors. Good evening, councilors. This $24,000 transfer, what I'm asking for is just a transfer from personal services over to other expenses. Since we've moved over to a private vendor for our animal control issues, all of our expenditures are coming out of other expenses. This would close out those two line items in personal services and will allow us to draw funds under the other expense account. So that's the reason for this request.
Questions?
Motion to approve 01118.
Motion made and seconded to approve 01118. All those in favor?
Motion.
Speaking on the motion, Counsel Bosher.
Chief, one question.
Yes,
one
sir.
quick. How is it working out with the way we're doing it with the farming it out, animal control?
So we're roughly 2 months into it. We started November 13th. I've had a lot of positive feedback from the public, a lot of emails sent to the PD. They're very happy with the response that Mr. Pickett has provided to our citizens on animal response calls. So we're 2 months into it. We're really trying to judge how it's going to play out cost-wise because we were given a specified amount under the contract budget, but the other expenses we're still trying to weigh out as we go, and we should get a better understanding within the next 2 months. But overall, I've had extremely great positive responses from the community at large.
And you let the council know how it's coming out? Could you let us know, this whole council?
We can discuss it at budget time, of course,
Okay,
when he's before us.
thank you, sir.
Motion made and seconded to approve 01118. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is unanimous. 01218, an order that the City of Fitchburg hereby approves the expenditure of funds from the Massachusetts Executive Office of Public Safety and Security FY18 Shannon Community Safety Initiative Grant in the approximate amount of $142,709.24 for the purpose of said grant, which is to reduce gang and youth-related violence. Chief Martin.
Thank you. This one's a little bit more in-depth than the last one. The Shannon Grant, as many councilors, but maybe not the newer councilors, this is something we've been actively pursuing for the last 10 years through the State House, through the Executive Office of Public Safety. Specifically, the Shannon Grant focus, the purpose of the grant is to continue efforts targeting and curbing risk at high-risk youths who may be exposed to criminal activity, while also maintaining a positive rapport with with youths at risk in designated neighborhoods. These programs aim to build positive relationships between the youths and partners in the community. It also gives law enforcement an opportunity to engage outside of the business of what we do every day with enforcing of laws. You can see here it's $142,709. What happens here is Fitchburg Police Department, we're the fiscal agent involved in this, and we have other partners that we work with that this money gets distributed to. The Fitchburg Police Department receives roughly $26,400 of this $142,000. With that $26,000, what we do here in the city, specifically in our city, for our Shannon partners, is we conduct truancy enforcement, we do home visits, we work with our school resource officers. We try to identify children that are at high risks at our high school and middle school level, and we actually work with our school resource officers doing continued visits during the summertime, because that's the time of the year that we worry about when the kids aren't in school, what may happen to these high-risk children. And I think last summer we did something like 60 visits with youths across the city that we considered high risk, and we get them through the summer until we can get them back in school. So that's one of the things that we do with our Shannon money. One of the most popular things we do with our Shannon money is we run our Junior Police Academy. We've been running that for 9 years now. For the newer counselors, if you've never come down, I'd invite you down next year to see what we do at our Junior Police Academy. This year we were fortunate enough to have the Mass State Police Air Wing there with the helicopter, and the kids had a fabulous day. This is a week that we take 30 to 40 kids that otherwise may be spending the time at home during the summertime, and we give them something active to do during the summer, and they have a positive relationship with the police department. Additionally, we do park patrols and mentoring programs during the summertime. We coordinate at the YMCA. It's as simple as having police officers sometime playing kickball with kids down at Coolidge Park. This Shannon money is an opportunity for the police department to get out of the cruisers, not being seen in uniform, being seen as just another peer in the community, as someone that the kids can look up to, and to develop those type of relationships within the city. And we've really seen it expand with our school resource officers. So the $26,000 that we do receive from this is money extremely well spent in the city with the youth in our city. Some of the partners that we advocate for under this, where the money is going besides the city of Fitchburg, we allocate roughly $22,000 to Mount Wachusett Community College for their summer program with at-risk youths. We have approximately $22,000 going to the Shining Light Ministry. Mark is a large partner of ours. They receiving roughly $29,000. And prior to some of the issues that were going on at the Clegon Center, we were also sending another $13,000, $14,000 to the Clegon Center for their summer programs. Now that money will be going to Mark, but it's going to be staying in the Clegon neighborhood, as I told you earlier today. That money will remain in that part of the city. And our last partner in the Shannon Grant is the Gardner Police Department, and they do programs similar to ours. And the Gardner Police Department gets roughly $18,000. With any state grant of this size, we have an administrator that comes with it, and they're selected by the Executive Office of Public Safety. Our program coordinator, and I believe I've had him in front of the council in the past, his name is Will Rendejo. He gets a fee of $13,274. And he's the one that coordinates with our partners like the Gardner Police Department, Mount Wachusett, and he's our reporting agent back to EOPS so they see where the money's being spent. Like I said, we've been very fortunate the last 10 years to receive this grant from the state. And actually this year it went up a little bit, so that was encouraging. And I'm hoping the council sees fit to approve this expenditure.
President Kuchmarek.
Chief, you just mentioned the amount went up from last year. How does that compare? What is the overall trend in terms of fund allocation to Fitchburg?
It was going down.
Okay.
This is the first year I've seen a little bit uptick in it. It was about $4,000 that it increased.
Sure.
You know, we're roughly spending here in the city anywhere between 26 and 30. This is just one area that we just, this is all committed to the youths in our community. That entire $26,000 is committed back to just getting involved with them and making sure that some kids don't fall through the cracks during a time when they're not in school.
Do you see, I know this is, in large part a state legislative issue, but do you see these funds being available to us long-term? And you don't see this program going away anytime soon, correct?
Not anytime soon. You know, some of it's backed by federal funds as well, and that's a turbulent area of, I don't really want to go down at this point, but 10 years we've been successful. You know, we're very fortunate that I employ a very exceptional grant writer, Christy Fisher. So she keeps producing these solid grant applications, and we're reaping the rewards for that.
Well, Chief, I think it's a testament that, I often see that we're the fiscal agent on a number of grants. And, that doesn't happen just by coincidence. It happens, because people want to partner with us, and they see us as a great lead on great lead agency on so many of these grants. So I commend you. I commend Christy Fisher. But really just seeing the work over the past several years that we've done in terms of preventative and community-based policing, of going out into the community. And it's not only the only time you see the police or when the blue lights are on. It's they're in the community and they're building trust and building relationships, and I think that goes a long way. And you're starting to see that in our communities. And I think you and I have been to community-based meetings, and you're starting to see that change of perception about how police are viewed in our communities. And I think that goes a long way into preventing crime long term, but I also think it goes a long way to building those relationships and ensuring that there isn't systemic distrust of police and public safety in communities. So I commend the work that you've done, and look forward to seeing how the funds are used this year.
Council Squalia?
The Shannon grant, what are the stipulations of the grant, or what are the requirements of the grant?
It's specifically geared towards at-risk or high-risk youths. So we work in conjunction with our school resource officers and our school administrators, and we determine, or we try to identify kids that maybe are just on the edge, the ones that are taking a day off from school when they shouldn't be taking a day off. So we coordinate with our SROs and our school department, and we try to identify which kids would be best served for this. So that's just one small portion of it.
The reporting requirements?
Not per se reporting requirements, it's more of having school resource officers that know their community and have a relationship with school administrators to identify kids that potentially could be at risk. But everything around Shannon is centered around youth and about creating that trust and transparency in your community. And that's what the goals of it for. So just a small portion of it, it deals with truancy and that issue. As simple as, like I said earlier, as playing a kickball game down at Coolidge Park, that's part of that trust where you're breaking down those barriers with the youths. So that's primarily we get our clientele from our school department, but we're also at the summertime we're at the YMCA where there's another group of clientele. It's not specifically high school. At Shannon, we try to age range it anywhere from 10 to 15. But sometimes we've gone as high as juniors and seniors in high school. Last year, we had a specific case where there was an older kid that we thought may slip through the cracks during the summertime. One of our SROs was his buddy all summer long, and that kid returned to school in the fall. So those are the success stories that come out of this, and just having that type of relationship with my officers and the youth in the community. $26,000 is just, it goes fast, but it's money well spent.
So the guidelines to the grant really are up to your what you feel is appropriate to use it for, and you would report back to the state in some fashion on how you
Sure.
allocated that fund?
It's how we stipulate it within our grant, when we write the grant, specifically Fitchburg's target. Our hopes are a little different than Gardner PD's. We may be doing something a little different than theirs. But the way we've traditionally written this grant for the last 10 years targets exactly what I spoke in this evening. Just, the big one is the Junior Police Academy. That's an expensive week for us. And this money is well spent during that week's training for the kids.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Motion to approve zero.
Sorry, go ahead.
Motion to approve 01218.
Second. Motion made and seconded to approve 01218. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is unanimous. Thank you,
for your
Chief.
time, councils.
Last on the agenda, 01318, in order that the City of Fitchburg hereby approves the expenditure of funds from the Department of Fire Services grant in the approximate amount of $56,000 for the purpose of said grant, which is to purchase a new regional fire safety house to be used in teaching fire safety. Chief Roy.
Thank you, councilors, and welcome to our new councilors. I look forward to working with you in the future, the next couple of years. Councilors, this is the safety trailer. I'm sure many of you have seen it, if not all of you have seen it. Lieutenant Phil Jordan uses it, but it's also a regional trailer. It's used by 34 cities and towns in north central Worcester County. We happen to take care of it and maintain it and do the scheduling through our office for it, for all the smaller towns. It's used greatly throughout the north central region by different fire departments for school children. I think our department puts about 650 kids through it every year. And as you know, you can smoke it up and get the kids learn how to crawl and how to cook badly and all the things that we do. The new one also has a hurricane feature in it where it shakes the building, and it's actually pretty neat. However, this will be our third generation trailer. I think we got the first one in 1996. The current one is 10 years old, and now we needed a new one. I went to Deputy Marshal, Fire Marshal Maribel Fonia, and asked her for the money to replace it. Just started to have some corrosion problems, some issues with it that we had to upgrade. There's 15 of these trailers throughout the Commonwealth. Each fire district owns one and use it for the student education for fire safety throughout the state. So she was very good about it. Within a couple of days I heard back. She said the state gave us the money. There's no match by us. We did put the spec together on the trailer, and as soon as it's approved, we'll be ordering it, and hopefully the end of May, beginning of June, we'll have the new trailer in place.
President Kuchmarek.
Chief, this is I've been in the old trailer, and the mayor and I went in just this past fall, and I think it's great what you do for the community. It's a great asset to the region, and the best part is we're not paying a dollar for this. This is funded by the state, so this is really a win-win for us and for this region. I think it's again to the same sentiment that I expressed to Chief Martineau of any time we can be in the community and building those partnerships and that trust with the community when in good times when we're not in a crisis situation. I think those are funds well spent. That's time and resources well spent. And we have to be honest too. We have a city with fire risks and hazards, and and particularly even the elderly. And it's good to make sure that we're educating children. And I know you've spoken with me about some of the opportunities about educating elders and high rises and other facilities about fire risks as well. So I think this is an order that I'm happily approving tonight.
Yeah, I think we just finalized our applications for the Senior Safe Program and the SAFE Program, so that money should be coming out hopefully. I should mention Lieutenant Jordan, as you all know, has done a great job in this program for a couple of decades. He continues to rotate in new, younger firefighters to get involved with the children. They have to go for training for that, but they do a great job on it.
Thanks, Chief.
Council Squalia.
This 56,000 grant, that covers the full amount of the new trailer?
Yes, some of the equipment on the old trailer will be able, because we have some large screen TVs, we have smoke machines, we've upgraded those recently, so this will cover the full amount. There's no any kind of money by us, and in fact, if any additional expenditures come up on it, I'd go to the Mid-State Fire Chiefs Association for money of that, so there is no input by the city of Fitchburg, other than we wrote the spec and it's kept at the Summer Street Station. Right now, it's actually in the intermodal parking garage for the winter, and then we get it around, and Phil gives the training to other communities on how to operate the trailer. But the 56 will buy us the complete trailer.
And for the fire region, are there 15 fire regions in the
It's
Commonwealth?
15 fire districts in the
Fire
Commonwealth.
districts.
Yeah, we're Fire District 8.
Fire District 8, and that covers 34 cities and towns?
34 cities and
And we're the head?
We are the main dispatch center for that, and also we're the largest community in it other than Leominster. There's only 3 cities, Fitchburg, Leominster, and Gardner. All the rest are smaller towns.
Thank you.
It's before you.
Motion to approve 01318.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve 01318. Speaking on the motion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? It is unanimous.
Thank you, councilors.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to
Mr. Chair,
adjourn.
just a very quick announcement. I just want to, I know the meteorologists were expecting 50-plus degree weather today, and, weren't expecting a whole lot of freezing rain, but, we ended up, of course, getting it, and the roads were hazardous. Our DPW did a tremendous job. They were out there at the outset of it yesterday, and all through the night into today. So just want to commend our DPW for everything they've done this winter, and particularly for this past storm.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.